There's not a person in the arena, all right? There's not a person that you know that thinks we have a chance to win this game. All right, we're not happy to be here. We're here to make history. Stick together, stay the course. All right, execute the scout to a T, but play with that toughness, passion, grit, and determination that we've been playing with for the last month plus. All right, stick together. Let's go out there and make history.
Awaiting Will Brown and the Albany Great Danes, Gator Nation here in Orlando. They're here to see the top seed in the NCAA tournament, the Florida Gators. And we are just about ready for the opening tip from Orlando. Albany and Florida, game 2 as they move into the South region. And of course the winner will advance to take on the Pitt Panthers, who had a very impressive win over the Colorado Buffaloes. And hi everybody, we welcome you from Orlando. Brian Anderson along with Dan Bonner. We'll hear from Christine Leahy in a moment as well. And now the Gators ready to get their tournament started, Dan, riding a 26-game winning streak.
And playing very well. And for each team, Brian, the question is the same. Why not us? But for Albany, it's why not us as the 16 seed being the first one to beat a #1 seed. And for the Gators, why not us winning the national championship?
Hey, it worked for Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Why not UAlbany? They had a nice win on Tuesday in Dayton, and DJ Evans was impressive.
Wow, what to look for is good guard play. DJ Evans, you can see his numbers against St. Mary's in the first 4. And the SEC Player of the Year, Scotty Wilbekin, leads the Florida Gators. He's a guy, really a good three-point shooter. He orchestrates everything that goes on out there. So that's what to watch for, some pretty good guard play. Entertaining basketball.
There's Will Brown, 13th year at Albany. Their 4th trip to the tournament. They had never won a game until Tuesday. Turning champs out of the America East Conference. DJ Evans, he was the star of the first 4, went for 22 points. You got the 2 Aussies in Hooley and Rowley, their other 2 top scorers. And of course for Florida, familiar name, Scotty Wilbekin, the SEC Player of the Year, leads the way, sitting on that 26-game win streak, 32-2 for the season. And Billy Donovan, 2 national titles under his belt by age 41. He's now age 48. And the talent and experience to perhaps make a run at another national championship. And it all begins here today in Orlando, the top-seeded Florida Gators. DJ Evans, the smallest guy on the floor. It's going to be a very interesting matchup with he and Scotty Wilbekin, as Dan mentioned. Did not see the kind of defense in Dayton that he's going to see in one of the great defenders in the country in Scotty Wilbekin. And Albany ready to take their swing at history. Patrick Young and John Puck will tip it off. Michael Cyphers, Earl Walton, Sean Lehigh, our officials. And away we go.
Man-to-man defense for Albany. Florida's a team that really likes to attack you off the dribble.
And it's poked away right away by Evans. And an early turnover for Florida on their first possession. Keep an eye on Peter Hooley, number 12 in purple, and number 14, Sam Rowley, the 2 Aussies that work very well off each other. It's Puck to take the first shot, and the big man with a sweet little mid-range game. Florida coming fast down the floor, and a whistle.
And on that first possession, Will Brown from Albany got up and told his guys, slow down. They're interested in making sure this game is played at a very slow pace, and obviously Florida trying to push it up the court. So Albany, they're going to have to work very hard getting back in transition.
Casey Prather first to the free throw line, a 68% free throw shooter. So much talent, so much experience here for the Gators with the 4 seniors in the starting lineup. Prather is one of them out of Jackson, Tennessee. Averaged a little over 14 points per game this year. He hits 1 out of 2.
And here comes Florida with the pressure. You have to be able to handle the traps.
DJ Evans, a very good ball handler.
Now, one of the things you'd like to play slowly, but if they're going to trap you, you have to make them pay for the trap. If you find an open guy, he's got to be able to knock down shots.
Now, those were Will Brown's words prior to the Mount St. Mary's game. Albany defeated Mount St. Mary's, very much an up-tempo style. And a tough shot put up by Rowley. This is on his first opportunity.
And that's what Rowley does. He operates around the basket. It's going to be tough going for him inside, though, if you get Young and guys like that in there.
Frazier dumps it down to Young, cutting to the basket is again. Good interior passing by the Gators. And you get with the first field goal of the day for Florida. Evans, he'll fire a quick three.
And that's okay as long as it goes in, but I think if you're going to get those open shots, you do have to take them.
Well, if you're with us on Tuesday at Dayton, Albany jumped ahead 21-2 on Mount St. Mary's. They gave up that 19-point lead. Ended up surviving and winning 71-64. So they played well. They're hot. They've won 7 of their last 8, including their conference tournament. They got their hands full in the Gators today, though. Prather off the back iron. Rowley secures the rebound.
That's not Prather's game, the jump shot. Not that he can't shoot them, but he's much better closer to the basket, driving to the goal.
Albany averaging 66 points per game, allowing just shy of 64. And of course, the Gators not scoring points like they're accustomed to, are very much a defensive presence, only giving up 57.9 a game this year. Incredibly talented defensive team. Shot clock down to 4. Here's Evans, steps back, Wilbekin right on it, and he knocks down a rainbow. Two-pointer for DJ Evans.
Well, if you're going to be a number 16 seed, upset a number 1 seed, you're going to have to make shots like that.
Albany will take some very unorthodox shots, especially from Hooley and Rowley. Frazier goes right by Johnson, looking up top for Young. Able to keep it in bounds. Here's Prather. No. And it's tapped away. Looks like Johnson got a piece. Evans on the move. Evans flying high, and he's fouled hard. Evans goes down. Free throws coming up.
And we saw Evans, and he has a great ability to push the basketball and then finish in transition. That's Casey Prather, I think, coming in from the back, has no chance to affect the play. That was a tough shot, and Prather actually bailed him out by fouling him.
Evans has been on a good run here. 16 points in the America East Championship game. They beat Stony Brook on Stony Brook's home floor and had 22 and 9 rebounds on Tuesday at the first 4. Subs coming in for Florida. Dorian Finney-Smith. Will take a seat, as will Patrick Young.
And Evans, they list him very, very generously at 5'9". He's nowhere close. Had those 9 rebounds. That was pretty impressive.
Check out the blue line up above, flashing. Harvard and Cincinnati coming down to the end. Harvard with the lead late. That's over on TNT. Possible 12-5 upset there. Prather. Another one long. Poor shooting early by the Gators. Not a lot of the Gates, just 1 out of 5.
Not a lot of movement on offense by Florida.
Rowley gives it up to Evans. Johnson.
Johnson's a good driver.
Their most athletic player, and he gets a friendly roll. Gary Johnson, the senior from Moreno Valley, California. He's on the board. Finney-Smith, another one off the back iron. And that's wrestled down by Puck.
Florida this year has had a lot of games, Brian, where they have started slowly. And this is a game where, if you're Florida, you'd like to start quickly so you get the idea out of UAlbany's head immediately that they can compete in the game. The longer they stay in the game, the more they start to believe what their coach told them before the game.
Peter Hooley. And that was tipped away by Prather. Wilbekin comes away, back to Prather, returns the favor, and Casey Prather gives them something to cheer about.
Rowley's going to have to be better with the ball when he gets down inside because the defense just collapsed on him. Florida will trap you in any number of places. And that guy, just because he's close to the basket, doesn't mean he's not going to find 2 or 3 Gators all around him.
Rolling with the ball here. 90 turnovers this season prior to the tournament, and then he had 8 in the first 4 game against Mount St. Mary's. That has been a problem for Rowley, although he can give you some points. Shot clock down to 6. Evans looking for a whistle, knocks it down. And a pull-up jumper.
Boy, Evans continues his play. Fantastic play in the NCAA tournament.
Well, the book on him when we first saw him on Tuesday, a streaky 3-point shooter, but he was on a good streak. They get him their first tournament win. That was tipped away off of UAlbany. It'll be Florida basketball. An early fast break, a poor shooting start, but the Gators off and running. They find themselves trailing 9-5 despite the dunk from Prather. All right, thanks, Greg. How about that? Harvard last year as a 14 seed beat New Mexico. They're at it again. If they advance, they'll take on the winner of Michigan State and Delaware. Tommy Amaker's team back in it in the NCAA tournament. A good finish. We'll keep our eye on that one for you. Back to play here in Orlando. Florida with the basketball. Finney-Smith knocks down the jumper out of the timeout. The three-pointer for Dorian Finney-Smith.
And Finney-Smith, he's a 32% three-point shooter and takes a lot of them, even though he plays that forward spot. You've got to understand, if you're Albany, that he's going to go out and shoot the three and he can knock it down. In the half-court set, Albany, of course, really wants to execute. They don't mind the clock running down as long as they can get a decent shot at the end.
That's Dallas Enema for three. Had a good look at it. Just checked into the game. Enema and Luke Devlin in as Wilbekin. Great touch. Scotty Wilbekin 13 points, a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Player of the year in the SEC because of what he does defensively as much as anything else. And they just hound Albany as Chris Walker flying high with a rejection. Wilbekin will pull it back.
And Evans is a very naturally aggressive player, but you've got to curb your instincts right there. You can't go 1-on-4 against the Florida Gators.
The travel turnover for Florida. Billy Donovan getting a little more energy out of the group on the floor.
And Scotty Wilbekin is such a dangerous player because he can hurt you in so many ways. He's a 40% three-point shooter, but he's really good attacking the basket, as you saw right there. Got to stay in front of him.
Florida winning their last game Sunday, beating Kentucky. It was a tight one. A 61-60 win in the SEC title game. Billy Donovan's team hit 8 3-pointers in that game. Wilbekin had 3 of those, had 11 points. And they're playing some grind them out, low-scoring games. Only Virginia held their opponents to fewer points over the last 2 years. Albany very methodical on offense, looking for the right shot, the right drive. They're going to have a tough time getting to the basket against the Gators. Here's Hooley. And now the shot clock at 7. Got to go quickly here. DJ Evans. Evans, another high arcing shot. Beautiful roll. How about that friendly rim?
That's twice he's made really tough shots at the end of the shot clock.
Then he Smith for 3, in and out. Young rips the rebound down and then rips the rim down. Patrick Young.
He is an outstanding offensive rebounder and a big, powerful guy. 6'9", 240 pounds. Really going to be a handful in there all day long for the Great Danes.
This is Devlin. Gives it to Rowley. You see Florida picking at Rowley. The guy turns it over a lot, as we mentioned.
Well, Hooley's game is driving the ball to the basket. It's just going to be hard for him to get in there against guys like Patrick Young.
Casey Hill whips it in the corner. Devon Walker misfires on the 3. Gators by a point. Albany making half their shots. A couple of friendly bounces for the Danes. Here's Peter Hooley, and he's fouled. Young got a piece of him. Cutting to the lane. We'll have free throws coming up for Peter Hooley out of Adelaide, Australia. DJ Evans paid his dues. Patrick Young the easy way on the other end. The Great Danes of Albany down a point. Free throws coming up. Now it's time for the Powerade sideline report. We welcome Christine Leahy. Hello, Christine.
Brian, hello. Well, Albany's Peter Hooley is playing with a little bit of extra electricity tonight. Originally, his parents were supposed to fly in for this game from Australia, but just a couple of days ago, they Skyped with him and said, you know what, we're not going to be able to make it. And here's the reason why. It's extremely touching. They said his mom had finally, after 4 years of waiting, been cleared to have surgery to remove cancer. And he said, Mom, I am so happy that you are not coming. He cannot wait to play for her tonight. And guys, every time that he touches his ankle, that's him signaling to his mother, who's watching right now live in Australia.
Oh, that's a great story, Christine. Thanks for sharing that. And Peter Hooley counted on for big points. Very touching story. And we wish his mother the best. You know, she's found a way to watch this game in Australia. And Christine mentioned that he touches the ankle. There he goes, thinking of Mom. Hooley is an excellent free throw shooter. 86% for the year. He knocks them both down. He was the most outstanding player of the America East Conference tournament. Prather on the dish from Wilbekin. No whistles anywhere. Everybody's looking for one, but Prather goes down hard.
Albany showing a little 1-2-2 pressure in the three-quarter court, and Florida just knifed right through it. Billy Donovan asking the official, hey, wasn't that a foul?
And he's working on Earl Walton over there as the Gators go back on top. This is Johnson. Got it. He's got a great stroke. Gary Johnson.
As long as he stays inside the arc, he is a really, really good shooter, well over 50% inside that arc, only 1 for 7 outside.
He was so active against Mount St. Mary's, had 8 points and 10 rebounds on Tuesday. First ever win for Albany in the NCAA tournament in their 4th trip. Will Brown's brought him here all 4 occasions.
This looks for all the world like a triangle and 2 that Albany is playing. They're guarding Prather and Wilbekin, and the other 3 guys are playing zone.
Young traveled. Another turnover for Florida. That's their 3rd. Say, if you missed getting your bracket in, it's not too late. Join the Capital One NCAA March Madness round-by-round game now. NCAA.com/round-by-round.
No, heck, if you're late with your bracket, you can put Harvard in over Cincinnati and advance them and look really good.
How about that? Over on TNT, it just wrapped up a moment ago. Harvard, for the 2nd consecutive year, an upset win. They advanced to the round of 32.
They won last year, as you mentioned, as a 14 seed, Brian, and this year as a 12 seed.
Albany ball. They have a 1-point lead. Holding serve here in the first half of the first half. And San Roli, we talk about the unorthodox nature of their offense. They get their baskets in a very international way, if that's such a thing, man.
I don't know if that was international. That was just tough. He's 6'6". Really has to maneuver inside against the taller Florida Gators. And there's Dorian Finney-Smith. He's been aggressive since he entered the game. We saw him shoot the 3. That time he takes it to the basket. Finney-Smith gets inside the defense, and that's really strong right there to take the contact. Very nearly got that 3-point play opportunity out of that.
Well, what a producer off the bench, Finney-Smith, as he hits the first free throw.
Now Finney-Smith, the SEC 6th man of the year, so he can really produce off the bench.
Finney-Smith averaging nearly 9 a game, nearly 7 rebounds per game off the bench. Pretty quiet in their win against Kentucky, though. Had 6 rebounds, but just 3 points. And he knocks down both free throws, Dorian Finney-Smith. As the Gators within a point. Albany sitting here in the lead with the ball. Peter Hooley gives it back to Evans.
So far, UAlbany has done a very, very nice job against this Florida pressure. You're going to turn it over some. You just got to keep the numbers down.
Plenty of clock here. They find Puck. Passes up the first one. Now he'll take it. And he'll hit his 2nd jump shot of the game.
Puck is capable of hitting that jump shot as long as he has enough time and space.
6'10", a big man from Waterloo. He's a senior as well. He's got a nice touch. And Finney-Smith on a great setup underneath. Well, he had all kind of room to do whatever he wanted.
But they're playing that triangle in two, and with Frazier back in the game, they're not guarding Prather anymore, they're guarding Frazier. There's Puck, they ought to guard him.
He's feeling it. John Puck. When it comes back quickly, Albany gets back, and that's going to be a block. A foul on Rowley. Look at how the Gators break the zone.
You get the ball in the middle of the zone, and when you draw the defense, the penetration just kills any defense. And again, I think that wasn't a straight zone. That looked to me like a triangle in two where Albany was guarding Frazier and Wilbekin, and the other three guys were playing zone. And if you attack it like that, it's hard to play that defense.
Young goes inside to Finney-Smith. Boy, that's been a nice combo in the last couple of possessions. Another dunk for Finney-Smith. By the way, Rowley has 2 fouls, and he goes to the bench. And there's a steal, Prather, and a foul. Down it goes. Chance for 3 as Prather jumps the lane, comes up with a steal and the basket.
He can't throw that soft pass up in the middle of the court against the Florida Gators. Prather sees that coming a mile away, goes hard to the basket. Evans trying to take the charge, and for Evans, it's a bad pass, and then he's just got to get out of the way. Better to give up the basket than get a foul and give up the basket and a free throw opportunity.
Prather is active early, has 7 of the 22 Florida points.
Now, for all the talk about Scotty Wilbekin being the team leader, Prather actually is the leading scorer for the Gators, and he does it just that way, attacking the basket.
Now, Prather, a little over 14 a game, their top scorer. Wilbekin's in there at 13. Then you got Frazier, nearly 13. Very balanced scoring, and on any given night or any given day, anybody can come up with a top game scoring-wise.
And here we are in the first really key moment of this game for the Great Danes. They've hung in, they haven't turned the ball over. Now they've suffered a turnover. Florida seems to be on a little bit of a roll.
And Johnson on a great pass from John Puck.
And that's the way you answer. That was the key moment. They responded.
Well, there was a very small window for Puck to put that pass, and he delivered it perfectly.
Now straight zone. Johnson playing up at the top of a 1-2-2 kind of set.
Wilbekin back in there. And here's Finney-Smith and a foul. And Puck going to be hit for the foul, his second. So some foul trouble brewing here for Albany, but they're hanging tough. 16 versus 1. Albany and Florida all tied up. Our friends from Synergy Technology give us a look behind the stats, presented by LG.
And the Albany Great Danes pretty good in the half court. Peter Hooley is the guy who touches the ball. Not only does he have to touch it, he has to score. And the Gators, well, they press. They're among the top 10% of the teams. And what does that mean? What does that mean to a team when they press? Now look here, when you press, Florida's got guys right here. Albany's got to get people to come to the ball. There's nobody in this entire area, and when Evans tries to make a pass, he's forced to make a long pass, and because that's a long, high pass, Florida's just sitting back there waiting for it, and so when they press and convert that press into turnovers and points, they become very, very tough.
Just one of 2 turnovers so far for Albany, all tied at 23, as Finney-Smith will shoot a pair of free throws here. And a reminder to watch live games on your Amazon Kindle, Android device, iPhone, iPad, or computer with NCAA March Madness Live. You can watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. As Finney-Smith hits 1 of 2, the Gators back on top. Albany with the ball. Albany has made 6 of their last 7 field goals. And a hot shooting run for Florida as well. They made 5 of their last 7. Now we got a whistle on Casey Hill of Florida.
One of the things that Will Brown needs his team to do is be very aggressive on the offensive end, really try to execute their plays. That's what happened that time. Evans hustling through the play. Hill trying to guard him, fouled him. That's what you have to do. You've got to be intense on offense and on defense.
14th foul for Florida. Albany does a lot of their work when they get to the free throw line and get in the bonus. Nothing home for Johnson. Puck playing with 2 fouls. Rowley continues to sit. Ooh, almost an interception, but Evans has it, and a 3-pointer is good. DJ Evans. He's proven, Dan, he's not afraid of the spotlight.
No, he loves the spotlight, and he loves to attack. That pass just managed to get through there, however. The shorter the passes you make against this defense, the better. That's a pretty short pass.
Yeah, plenty of highlights coming for the Gators.
Wow.
This game is still tied, even though there have been a number of opportunities to get a sold-out arena on their feet. Predominantly Gators fans here. Here's Hooley for 3. And Young clears it away. The Gators want to move it.
Hooley's a good 3-point shooter, but I don't know about that shot on the move.
Prather comes up short. Battle for the ball. Devlin is down there. That'll be a held ball, and this will be the possession of UAlbany.
We just talked about you have to make short, crisp passes against this defense. Puck just slides one in there, and Evans takes advantage of it. His man runs by. Now, Florida inside passing. The Albany defense comes to help. Nobody on the other side of that zone.
Yeah, most of it getting done inside, you see.
Well, that's where Florida has a tremendous advantage, and the more they work inside, they not only can score inside, but they can also force foul trouble against Albany, and that's what they've done so far.
All tied up.
Gators don't have to beat Albany in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. They got 40 minutes to do it.
Here's Hooley. Dishes to Devlin. Frazier pulls down the board, looking ahead to Prather, and Prather finishes easily at the basket.
Now, you're not going to make all your shots, but you've got to make an extremely high percentage, because when you miss, that's the kind of opportunities that Florida gets. They get that rebound and they go.
Boy, Hooley almost lost it, and Johnson can't put it back. Scotty Wilbekin. Frazier, he's been quiet. All the activity inside. He'll let a 3 go. And you wonder if he's getting a little anxious. Unable to really get any offense going. Hasn't really needed it for Florida at this point. A deadly 3-point shooter, Michael Frazier.
UAlbany has done a nice job so far getting out and pressuring those 3-point shooters.
Out of bounds on Florida. Now the CBS Sports app is all you need for tournament scores, bracket games, highlights, and more. Get it now at cbssports.com/mobile. Message and data rates may apply. Great Danes of Albany, the purple and gold. Just under 5 minutes remaining in this first half. Albany down 2 with the ball.
And clearly, Albany has stayed in the game for these 15 minutes. Now, there you go. They make another shot. Now, what you don't want to do if you're the Great Danes is allow Florida to go off on some run that puts you down 8 or 10 at halftime.
That was the other Aussie connection. Luke Devlin, 1 of 4 from down under. As Wilbekin answers on the other end. Gators back on top.
And Wilbekin is just taking his time out there. He's not forcing a thing on offense.
Prather poked it away. Turnover for Albany. Prather gives it up. And a tough pass for you get to handle. Young on the floor. Hooley comes away with it.
Wow. Puck with those 2 fouls. That was dangerous. That looked almost like a tackle out there.
Will Brown says slow it down and breathe. Evans comes up short. Interesting, they got Hooley with the ball in hand the last few possessions. Evans playing off the ball. Young takes on puck with those 2 fouls. Patrick Young, so strong. What a beast he is out of Jacksonville, Florida. His last run with the Gators here in his senior season. Florida up 4, getting all they want from the Great Danes of Albany. (32-28), the Gators have the lead over Albany. And coming up on AT&T at the half, we'll get you caught up on the latest tournament news, highlights, and updates. That's all coming up on AT&T at the half. No 16 seed has ever beaten a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, but Albany, Dan, you remember they had a shot back in 2006. 16 seed playing the 1 UConn. Actually had a lead in the second half. They started on a 13-0 run in that second half. Marcus Williams hit that big 3 to put UConn up with under 6 to play. And UConn would hold on to win that game, but Albany, they took their shot at UConn that year.
Yeah, they sure did, Brian. And the formula is you've got to stay in the game, and that's the start, and then give yourself a chance to win it at the end. And that's exactly what Albany has done to this point. Florida has not been able to break away. Albany's done a fairly good job against, in fact, a very good job against the pressure.
Albany down 4 with the ball. Gators putting the pressure on them, and a whistle. Devon Walker couldn't get it turned around in time. That's going to send us to another break. Albany with the ball, down 4. All right, Greg, thanks. As you take a look at our Southwest Airlines tournament summary, earlier today here in Orlando, we saw Pittsburgh demolish Colorado 77-48. And they're awaiting the winner of this game, Albany and Florida. 3 of the 4 winners today have been the lower seeds. Upsets from Dayton and Harvard. I don't know if you can call Pittsburgh beating Colorado technically an upset, but not so much on the floor from what we saw today.
Well, how about Harvard? It took them 66 years to get in the NCAA tournament, and now they've won twice in a row in the first round. Or the second round, let me correct myself. You and I were at the first round.
That's right. Old habits die hard. Albany down 4 with the ball. Sam Rowley is back in for the Danes with 2 fouls. John Puck playing with 2 fouls as well. Rowley's got the ball here, matched up by Young. Rowley, little fadeaway with 1 foot on the ground. Gets his own.
They're gonna shoot it.
Shot clock winding down and hits the rim. It would have counted had it gone.
Now, those are the kind of moves that Rowley can make successfully in the America East, but not against the SEC player, the defensive player of the year.
Wilbekin, so unselfish, gives it to Young, and it's off his hands.
Florida has not been impatient in this game. They're just sort of grinding away, waiting for opportunities.
Michael Frazier is back in. He's had just one three-point attempt. Mike Rowley, the younger brother of Sam Rowley, checks in. Doesn't see a lot of playing time. Albany's rotation is really only 7 deep. So I have to call on a couple of guys here. It's Wilbekin knifes his way in, and he gets a roll. Scotty Wilbekin for 2.
Boy, he's really something going to the basket. He can find room in the smallest spaces.
Gators up 6.
And again, this is what we were talking about. Florida just grinding away, gradually extending the lead. Another situation where Albany needs a basket here to keep this game within reach.
Gators have their largest lead. Albany's been hanging tough. Johnson lost the handle, gets it back, comes up short. Now the Gators on the run. Prather leads the press, and he gives it up to Frazier. That's going to be a foul going the other way. Offensive foul on Casey Prather. Take a look at our Buick first half game summary.
One of the things that Albany does very well is get to the free throw line and convert. They're another one of those teams who make more free throws than their opponent's attempt, so Florida's not really let them get to the free throw line today.
There's 4 trips to the line for Albany. They get 3 of those 4 free throws.
They're an excellent free throw shooting team, so you understand why they try to get to the line.
Puck all the way across the floor. Johnson. That was a 2, and it's in and out.
Nice job. They got a wide open shot, but they're not able to convert it. Good job by Puck getting turned against that double team.
Billy Donovan wants a timeout. Will Brown will talk to the Danes. Scotts and Lowe's are challenging you to choose your Final Four teams. Visit Lowe's.com/ScottsSeed for a chance to win a trip for 2 to the 2014 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Final Four. Brian Anderson with Dan Bonner, Christine Leahy, the Gators on the move. Wilbekin misfires on the 3. Young, the offensive board. And as we approach 1 minute remaining in this first half, Wilbekin will set it up.
1 minute to play, 1 minute remaining.
Young can't handle that pass from Finney Smith. DJ Evans will methodically march it up the floor. Albany started hitting 10 of their first 15 tries. They've made just 2 of their last 10 field goal attempts. They've had some open looks too.
And Florida's defense has really tightened up.
Still Mike Rowley on the floor, in for his brother Sam. And Evans in and out.
See, early in the game, UAlbany was making those tough shots. Lately, those tough shots have been rimming out. And so the Gator defense has been strong throughout. They forced those tough shots.
Just wrapping up on CBS, Syracuse beating Western Michigan. And the Qs advancing to the round of 32. We welcome all of those coming from there to here as the top-seeded Gators getting a handful from the University at Albany, the Great Danes out of the America East Conference.
That was a foul that Johnson actually gave because they only had 5 team fouls. So now it's 16 fouls, and they get their... Albany gets some of their key players out of the game so they don't pick up fouls here in the last couple of seconds.
Evans back in. Wilbekin goes right to the basket, and that's how it ends. Well, if you're Albany, you're there. Florida will take a 6-point lead into the halftime locker room as we send it over to Christine.
Coach, the longer that you allow Albany to stick around, the more dangerous that they become. What do you need to do to pull away in the second half?
Well, I don't think we've played defense like we have all year.
What changes do you need to see in the second?
I think we had to do a better job defensively.
Thanks.
I think he wants to see some defense. Emphasis twice at the end of the first half. Albany and Florida, the 16 and the 1, will send you to AT&T at the half after these messages.